Actually, yesterday I read this story and I got hold of Christian straight away because this is the sort of thing that drives me insane. I think alarm clock Brits would agree with me. Labour's obsessive drive towards net zero could cost Britons, just think about this again, £4.5 trillion. That's 4,500 billion pounds, official estimates suggest. Critics say the extraordinary mounting costs for measures such as wind farms, solar panels, green heating system and upgrade to roads and railways are much higher than previously thought. This is, of course, Ed Miliband. This is the altar on which he has staked almost everything. £4.5 trillion. The writer and co-founder of Climate Debate UK will not help me make sense of this. He will agree with me that this is complete bloody madness. Ben Pyle, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy. You're absolutely right. It's complete and total, utter madness. But I just want to correct the story there because it says this is Labour's obsession. This has been Parliament's obsession. This has been nearly the whole of Westminster's obsession for the whole of this century so far, and going back quite a lot into the 1990s as well. So they have all committed to this agenda. They're committed to the international organizations, the intergovernmental organizations like the UN, and of course the EU championed it as well. And they've been unswerving in their commitment to that. And that has meant not representing the public's interest, not asking the public whether they support this radical agenda that, you know, for 4.5 trillion pounds, let's be frank about it, implies a vast reorganization of our economy, if not the entire world's economy, if the rest of the world follows us. And that's a huge amount of economic harm that's going to be done to every single business, to every single home, and to every young person's future. And there's never been a conversation between Westminster and the rest of the country about this agenda. We even see the King now putting the whole weight of his political resources and his own reputation, unlike Ed Miliband's. So this is the problem of the entire British political establishment and the entire British political class, extending into newspapers, academia, civil society organizations, and even trade unions. Somehow all of these parts of society that do not include the general public as such have all, where they've been membership organizations, they've been acting against their own memberships in the case of the unions that have got behind this agenda.
Can I just jump in for a second? Because you're far more switched on. You know, the Climate Debate UK, I salute you. I salute anybody that's talking common sense. So I've got a theory about this. I spent the weekend talking about this and no reason to explain why, but I did. I talked about this repeatedly. So I think that what really does my head in about these net zero zealots is they'll say everybody's concerned about the climate. If you ask somebody, are you concerned about the climate? I suspect that 70% would say, yes, I am. I think if you said to 70%, the same 70%, we are bankrupt. This isn't posturing. We cannot afford the interest on the debts that we've got. And we are talking about a bunch of politicians. There's Khan doing his bit. God. Miliband, the King, whoever it is, who seem to think that bankrupting Britain still further to the tune of £4.5 trillion is somehow, I don't know, the right thing to do. Now, it might be virtuous, and it might well be that in 5,000 years it's the right thing to do, and I'm probably going to be slaughtered. I don't give a toss about 5,000 years. I'm really sorry if that doesn't sit with people. I'll tell you what I care about. I care about the things that are happening right now. I care about welfare being given to the wrong people so that the right people are suffering. I care about the Jewish community whose lives are being blighted because our police can't do things correctly. I care about old people not having heated homes, kids who can't get jobs. Sorry, young businesses who are being slaughtered by NI increases and the fact that workers' rights are going through the roof and the government doesn't support them. I care about what's happening in terms of this country and illegal migration. I don't understand how any of these idiots can comprehend that amount of money if they open their eyes from their privileged position and looked at what the hell's going on in this country. It makes sense to me, man. None.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I mean, the fact of the matter is 4.5 trillion is probably an underestimate by about 2 to 3 times. And when those bills start coming in, as we get towards 2050, there isn't going to be the money for anything, quite frankly. And it's not just that there's going to be that bill, it's that as we get towards that bill, all of the disposable income that we have for things, for, well, not just the nice things, for even for essentials, are going to have to start going on doing the net zero stuff, right? So, you know, all
doing the net zero stuff. I mean, I have this argument. The other thing I said this week, and I'd love your take on this, Ben, we're having a pile-on. Do you see what I did there? Here's the thing I don't get, right? You know, everybody says Trump's a nightmare, and there's much about him that annoys me, OK? But specifically this. I'm running a business, the United Kingdom. My business is spending more than it's earning. But somebody points out that in a vault underneath my business that hasn't been open for years, there's an amount of money, OK, that will clear my debts and allow my country to be better off. It's called oil and gas under the sea. So I'm going to go and extricate that because that makes fiscal sense. And we're surrounded by these people who go, whoa, no, you can't do that. Oh, this is outrageous. We can't frack, we can't drill.
Yeah, if you look at it in terms of the opportunity cost, we could be making 4.5 trillion extra over the 4.5 trillion that it's going to cost us. Well, it's probably going to cost us more like 10, actually. So what's the difference between the opportunity cost and what we're going to end up with? It's double that again, right? So it's more, it's, you know, we're looking at the 20 trillion territory going out to 2050. So these are incredibly irrational ideas that have been put on the political agenda against democratic will or without any expression or test of a democratic will, and I encourage people, if they think that, and rightly, 4.5 trillion pounds should raise people's eyebrows. Think about the HS2 budget. When that was first announced, that was going to be, I think, in the order of 30 billion, and everyone was going, "Oh gosh, that's a lot of money." And then it turns out that it's going to be 100 billion or thereabouts, and we still don't actually know, and it's going to be much more limited.
And it never got built.
So the government, that's right. A lot of it didn't, or they spend 100 million on a bat tunnel and the such like. So the government and its agencies, and NISO, which has produced this cost estimate, is now a government agency, has an incredibly poor track record of predicting how much things cost. And actually, if you look at the report and if you go into the detail, it's assuming that things like wind turbines and wind farms cost a fraction of what we know they actually cost. So we know that they're producing power in the range of 12p a kilowatt hour, and they're assuming it's going to be more in the order of 5 or 6 pence per kilowatt hour. And this is just counterfactual. It's anti-physics. It's anti-scientific. There's no facts underpinning these cost assumptions, which are very rosy and very much in the favour of the green agenda.
If you said to Ed Miliband, if I said to him, mate, 4.5 trillion pounds against how skint we are, you are going to bankrupt the United Kingdom, and the very working people that you've always pontificated about representing are going to be screwed, what would he say to me?
I think the likes of Ed Miliband have always convinced themselves that they know better, because if they don't carry on with this agenda, well, first of all, there are drop-in replacements, that a wind turbine is good as a coal-fired power station. And the second thing they've been told the public is that if we don't do it, then the waves are going to inundate Britain and we're all going to drown, or some such thing.
Well, we won't know too much about it, but at least we won't be bankrupt up to that point.
That's right. And of course, if you are facing extreme weather of any kind, then the best thing you can have is diesel energy, because that'll power the JCBs such that you can build flood defences, so you can build coastal defences, and you can rebuild your economy.
It's not. I'm with Phil from Essex. She said the problem that we have with all politicians with regards to finances, it's not their bloody money. They seem to forget this, and they think that they can make these ideological decisions without any justification. Can I just say to Climate Debate UK and to you, thank you, because I actually sometimes think I'm insane, because I think this is madness. And people look at me sometimes going on, but I think net zero is the single most misjudged ideology. If we're going to bankrupt ourselves on that altar, we're in trouble. We really are in trouble. Yeah. Ben, thank you, my friend. Good to have you on. Please come again. Almost 12 minutes to 9 o'clock.